It is the first week of February. Not at all the time of year we might normally be about to say the following words, but here we are. And goodness gracious, are we ever so very thankful that we're finally able to say St. Martin's women's basketball is back home. I have been waiting so long and so impatiently to be able to say those very words, and I'm going to repeat them again for emphasis and good measure. St. Martin's women's basketball is back home. The lights inside Marcus Pavilion are on, and the familiar sweet sounds of basketball are resounding beneath its curving rooftop. Sneakers are squeaking, basketballs are thumping, and pregame shoot-around shots are raining down on the Twin Star court, and a familiar opponent has traveled about 60 miles down I-5 to help us kick off the home portion of what might be a very abbreviated season, but is also a season that we are so appreciative of and so very, very thankful for. Well, good evening, everybody, and at long last, welcome to another season of St. Martin's women's basketball. Alongside Saints Director of Athletic Communications, Ashlyn Burgess, I'm Jeff Lucero, happy to be here with you with a live broadcast from Marcus Pavilion tonight here on the home opening night of the 2021 Saints women's basketball season. In what will likely be the most unorthodox and unusual season of their lifetimes, the Saints open the modified and scaled-down home portion of the docket against the Seattle Pacific Falcons. We'd, of course, like to welcome in any Falcons fans tuning in with us tonight. As always, it's very nice to have you along for the broadcast as well. We'll talk matchups shortly, but first, I'm going to flip the script on my main man, Austin, here a little bit. See, this is a part of the pregame show in which we normally talk about the Saints' most recent games, or in tonight's case, for our first broadcast of the season, look back on last year and look ahead to the one at hand. And believe me, we'll get to all that both shortly and during today's game, not to mention throughout our small handful of broadcasts that will bring you this season. But, I'd be quite remiss, quite negligent, really quite thoughtless, really, if I didn't take a moment before we dive in to express my gratitude to all the folks right here at St. Martin's who have worked so hard behind the scenes to bring athletic competition back to this campus. I don't know about those of you at home tuning in tonight, but getting to watch sports once they came back over the past year has brought such light and such a steady sense of normalcy to an otherwise chaotic, discouraging, and altogether surreal and dark year. And that's why tonight is such a special night indeed. I probably don't need to say this because I know those of you tuning in already know, but I'll say it anyway. This is a very big deal, and there are so many people right here at St. Martin's who have poured blood, sweat, and tears to make it happen. So yes, before we say anything more, I very much want to extend my humble thanks and gratitude to the St. Martin's Board of Trustees, to President Roy Hendricks, Athletic Director Bob Grisham, Associate AD Chris Greger, every single person on the athletic administrative staff, all of the coaches, and of course the athletic trainers across every sport, every single one of the student athletes on campus, and of course you, Austin Burns, Mr. Director of Athletic Communications, for helping make today a reality. As you well know, Austin, this is no small feat, and I know the weight and meaning of this moment and this day are not lost on you, but I want you to know that it does not go unnoticed and it does not go unappreciated. So Austin, on behalf of myself and everyone tuning in tonight and every fan of college athletics, the world around, we see you, we see the work that you are putting in, and from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for those kind words. And like you said, it started from the top all the way up to our President Hendricks. He's been very supportive, and he wants to make sure, we come back to the court, but we did it in a right way, in a very safe way, to give these student athletes an opportunity to compete and do what they love. And so, honestly, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. We're here, we're getting to call a game, we get to do what we love, but we're doing it in a safe manner. It took a lot of work, like you said, but it was for this moment right here.
We will take our first break here on the St. Martin's Women's Basketball pregame show. When we return, we will go ahead and take a look back at year number 3 of the Christy Martin era, a season which, by any measure, was a huge step forward in that pivotal third year of any new era program under the direction of a new coach. You are dialed in to the St. Martin's Women's Basketball pregame show on the GNAC Digital Network.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes for all of us.
And welcome back in for the Saints women's basketball home opening pregame show. And, well, this is the 4th year under Saints head coach Christy Martin, who in year number 3 really seemed to be most at ease and in her element, more able to establish the type of basketball culture and identity that she's been crafting and sculpting and building here at St. Martin's into something that suits her style and her philosophy. We'll talk about that throughout tonight's broadcast. But first, hey, you know what? Let's take a moment to acknowledge the playing careers of the departed seniors from last year's squad. And you know what? There were a lot of them. Sarah Bowen, Marisa Miller, Megan Nielsen, Jayla Russ, McKenna Schultz, and Bria Timms. All 6 of those players left a lasting impression on this program, both athletically and academically. We want to wish all of them as much success as the world can offer. And here's an interesting thing, too. While she's not here in the building this evening, Bria Timms has taken on a part-time coaching position here with the Saints staff. We'll talk more about her role on today's broadcast and throughout the balance of the season as well. But, hey, I'll tell you what, to Sarah, Marisa, Megan, Jayla, McKenna, and Bria, if you are tuned in today to watch your former teammates play here tonight, we wish you all the best wherever you are. And in that spirit, let's talk for a moment about what those 6 outstanding competitors and ball players helped deliver to this campus in year number 3 under Saints head coach Christy Martin. By going 14-13 last season, that team produced the first winning season at St. Martin's in 6 years. They won about as many games as they did in the first 2 years of Coach Martin's tenure combined. Austin, we mentioned it a moment ago, and I hate to sound cynical, but it's fairly understood by most that the 3rd year under a new coach can often prove to be that make or break type of a year for a program. But in Saints head coach Christy Martin's case, she clearly, overwhelmingly came through on the make side of that equation. Her players have bought all the way into her style, her philosophy, her culture, and really just her spirit. She's a fantastic coach with the receipts to prove it, and she's really got this program pointed back in the direction in which it ought to be headed.
Absolutely, Jeff. And when you come into a team, especially like how Christy Martin came in with a lot of players under scholarship, they're not the players that you want in your system, that are tailor-made for your system. And so it took a lot of work, for her to kind of mold those players, into her system. And then that 3rd year, it really, for me, came together on one night when they knocked off Western Washington in this building and how loud this building was that night.
Amazing stuff.
That's right there for me where this program, I think, took that step forward and went, okay, we're ready now to compete in one of the best conferences in the country. And again, obviously, this year's a little bit different. It would have been interesting to see what this team could have done in a full season. But they already have some key wins on their schedule as well already, with a win at Northwest Nazarene, the first road win in Nampa since 2005. So Christy Martin is doing a great job getting this program up to her standards, her expectations, and I know that wants to end with a trip to the NCAA tournament later this year.
We will take another break as we move closer to tip-off. You're watching the Saints women's basketball pregame show on the St. Martin's Digital Network.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
And welcome back in to the St. Martin's women's basketball pregame show, and it's time for a quick look at the Saints' opponent for not just tonight, but the next 2 nights, the Seattle Pacific Falcons. SPU comes into this 2-game showdown with a record of 4-3 on the season, having split its 2 most recent games at home against the College of Idaho. In fact, all 7 of their games thus far have been played at home this season, although fans of both of these programs might recall that they were supposed to play here back in mid-January, but that game was moved back to Royal Brom Pavilion due to a campus-wide power outage here at St. Martin's. Now, among their players suiting up for the Falcons tonight, just one averages double figures, but what an impressive player she is. Of course, we're talking about Ashley Alter, the 5'11 junior who can pretty much do it all. She's averaging 15.3 points per game, which leads all scorers among the GNAC schools currently competing. She's also an absolute workhorse. She seldom comes off the floor, clocking in at around 33.5 minutes per game. Three other players, Kayla Brundage, Rachel Berg, and Natalie Hoff, each average between 8 and 9 points per game. Overall, the Falcons average about 62 points per game on 41% shooting from the floor. They shoot 32% from three and 67% at the foul line. But there are two things that this team does extraordinarily well: defend and clean the glass. They hold their opponents to just 57 points per game on a paltry 36% shooting from the field. But the news gets worse for Falcons opponents from there. This Falcons squad flat out wipes other teams off the boards. They are, check this number out, plus 13.5 in rebounding differential. That figure isn't just the best around these parts, it's the best in the entire nation. So Austin, this team poses a lot of problems for the Saints. They slow you down, they guard you relentlessly for all 40 minutes, and they are just box-out bullies around the basket with that national best rebounding differential. It's a very different style and pace than the Saints prefer. The team that forces the other to play their brand of basketball is the one that's most likely to grind out a win here tonight and again tomorrow.
Yeah, when the first two games happened up at Seattle Pacific, in the first game it was a little bit more of a run-and-gun style, and that's why the Saints came out on top. And then that second game, it was all Seattle Pacific on the glass. They just dominated that game in the glass. And for me, their whole offense bases around Ashley Alter. For me, it's her and Claire Dingus. If there was a GNAC Player of the Year right now with these teams playing, it's between those two. That's how good these two players have been. And Alter is really the scoring linchpin for them. If she's going, SVU, that starts opening up other holes. If Alter isn't connecting, that's when their offense can start getting into trouble. But for them, it's really about cutting to the glass, getting a lot of action. You're going to want to watch the ball, but with Seattle Pacific, you're going to want to watch what's going on around the ball, because there's a lot of movement, and they're going to look for that one quick pass, set up a layup. They're a very well-coached squad, and they do very, very well on the boards, like you said.
I'm glad you mentioned the name Claire Dingus. She is coming off an absolutely just preposterous performance last weekend, averaging 23 points per game and well over 10 rebounds in the two games over in Nampa against Northwest Nazarene. Claire Dingus, in her own right, probably the best individual rebounder in the conference, and she's off to a Bria Thames-like start to her season from a rebounding perspective. Claire now averaging 11.6 boards per game for the Saints to go along with our team-high 14.6 points per game. We will take our final break on the St. Martin's Women's Basketball pregame show. When we come back, we'll set the stage with some starting lineups and a few last thoughts before tip-off between the Saints and the Falcons. This has been the St. Martin's Women's Basketball pregame show on the GNAC Digital Network.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes for all of us.
Let's go ahead and get the Hey, welcome back inside Marcus Pavilions. Jeff Lucero alongside Austin Burns. We're just about ready for tip-off in the Saints' home opening women's basketball game of 2021. Could not be any more stoked about it. Let's quickly bring you some starting lineups. First for the Falcons. Again, they come in tonight with an overall record of 4-3. In the backcourt tonight, number 10, Rachel Berg. She's a 5'9 junior from Bellevue. Also in the backcourt, number 11, Abril Rashak Rory. She's a 5'5 senior from Catalonia, Spain. Also in the backcourt, number 21, Caprice Boston. She's a 5'10 senior up front for the Falcons. Number 15, Kayla Brundage, a 6-foot sophomore from Fort Lewis. And number 22, the all-everything forward from Stanwood. Number 22, Ashley Alter, the 5'11 junior, currently just crushing it all over the Falcons' schedule. Head coach of the Falcons in his third season is Mike Simonson. And for the Saints, bit of a wild card in the starting lineup. We have some late breaking player availability news for the Saints. We'll talk about that in a moment, but it does mean that the Saints are forced to juggle their starting lineup tonight. So making her first ever start for the Saints, number 10, Eternity Reed, the 5'10 freshman from Gardenia, California, will be joined by number 13, Janelle Sutterlick, the 5'9 sophomore from Toppenish. Also in the backcourt, number 20, Lauren Morris, the 5'8 redshirt freshman from Irvine, California. Up front for the Saints, number 30, Emily Nelson, the 6'1 sophomore from Meade. And, of course, number 14, Claire Dingus, the 6-foot junior from Spokane Valley. This is year number 4 for Christy Martin. She's got this program going the way she wants it. Let's back up a moment, though. We got a late-breaking development with the Saints lineup tonight. Austin, what do we know about the availability of both Tierney DiDonanis and Mallory Vavola?
Yeah, they just got cleared to play about 30 minutes before tip-off. They were in their dorm rooms having to be isolated. They just got cleared. They ran all the way over, stretched. They're not in the starting lineup, but they're going to be definitely in this game. So good to see for the Saints. They were kind of having the game plan without those two. But now this is a little interesting as we start the game.
Yes, we do have an administrative technical that was assessed against Seattle Pacific at the start of the game. But Claire Dingus unable to connect on either of those technical foul shots. So now it's basically just like a regular start to this ball game.
Yeah, there you go.
Saints in gray. The Falcons are in the road black uniforms. It will be Kayla Brundage tipping it off for the Falcons opposite Claire Dingus for the Saints. Brundage controls, but the ball sails out of bounds. So the first possession of the game will go to the Saints.
Yeah, Claire Dingus coming off a monster, two monster games.
Yep.
GNAC Player of the Week.
Just unstoppable last weekend.
Yeah, her scoring had kind of been a little bit limited until the last week, so it'll be interesting to see, can she keep that offensive output going?
Sutterlick rolls off the screen, drifts to the elbow, puts up a 16-footer. It won't fall. The rebound comes down to the Falcons, and here they are the other way. Alter with her first touch. Reverses it back up top between the circles. This is Rashak Rory handling. Bounces a pass inside intended for Kayla Brundage, but it is knocked away by Emily Nelson. Steps in front of it. 15 on the shot clock for the Falcons.
Yeah, it's a matchup to watch tonight. Dingus right now guarding Alter. Dingus has gotten in some foul trouble this year. Interested to watch, how does Alter drive right at her? Does she go for more of that mid-range game?
Look at this matchup right here. Claire Dingus facing up on Ashley Alter. And Alter unable to get a pass out of her hands. It winds up in a 5-second violation.
You don't see that very often, huh? Those are kind of rare calls now in today's game.
So a turnover without a shot for SPU on its first possession. Sutterlick finds Eternity Reed. Emily Nelson backs down on the defender, but hooked her in the process. So an offensive foul at the other end, and that'll give it back to the Falcons. A bit of a choppy start to this ball game. Now, Mallory Vavola and Tierney DiDonanis, Austin, are both on the bench for the Saints. So And Vivola was an absolute dead-eye marksman against SPU in those two games. Remember, she hit a combined 9 3-pointers, 5 of 8 the first night, 4 of 5 the second night, all from deep, so 9 for 13. She led the Saints in scoring in both of those games against the Falcons, so really a huge boost to see her back in the lineup for the Saints. The first points are on the board. It's Ashley Alter who walks into a 14-footer and calmly knocks it down.
Yeah, right there, it was just Dingus slacking off, giving her the space to shoot that mid-range shot. I think the Saints are going to give her that look a lot tonight.
Lauren Morris a little short with her mid-range jump shot. That one, it was deflected out of bounds, though, out of the hand of Morris. So it'll stay with the Saints with 14 on the shot clock. Morris to trigger the inbound. Saints run their stuff. Dingus tries to post up. Gets it, now hands it back off to Morris. Looks back down inside for Dingus. Make it Emily Nelson down low.
That's the second time already that they've tried to go down low to Emily Nelson, so the Saints have something in their game plan early. Get the ball down low on the block and go straight at Brundage. She had a great game, especially that second one against the Saints up at Seattle Pacific. Double-double.
Well, advantage Nelson on that one, as she does earn the foul on Brundage. Knocks down the first of 2 free throws. Very early in our contest here tonight. Be interesting to see how long Christy Martin will go before calling on either Didadonis or Vivola in this game. Saints show some pressure in backcourt. Rashak Rory able to get a head into the hands of Alter. Down low it comes for Brundage, but she cannot handle the pass. It trickles off her fingertips, rolls out of bounds. So a couple of turnovers for SPU sandwiched around that mid-range floater from Alter to get things going.
Yeah, sloppy game right now to start. Both teams just kind of need to get settled in. You know, I think a basket for either side will really help kind of ease that. Saints just can't connect there.
Morris sets up a paternity read, but she can't handle the pass. Ball batted around for a few moments, finally recovered out near the timeline by the Falcons. Back they come. Rachel Berg centers it to Alter. Now they reverse it back to Boston here on the near wing. Reed steps out on Berg. Now Berg on the lefty drive. Wheels now kicks for a Rashak Rory 3, and it's good. A Brill. Rashak Rory connects from deep. And it's 5-2 Falcons. Sutterlick the other way. Rolls off the screens. Stops on a dime along the baseline. Now whistles a pass back out on the wing for Dingus. Two-handed pass across the top. Bothered for the moment by Alter, but able to recover is Lauren Morris, and she's fouled by Alter. That's a frustrating foul for head coach Mike Simonson. Alter fouling Low Morris about 30 feet from the basket.
And Alter doesn't commit many fouls, only 16 in just 7 games.
Well, and remember, she barely comes out at all. She averages about 34 minutes per contest. She and Dingus both atop the leaderboard in minutes played per game. Look at Sutterlick with the step through. Everything but the finish. Brundage after the rebound. Low Morris tangles with her. Winds up on her backside. No foul. It's a jump ball. That could have been the second foul early on Brundage, who will check out anyway, but just with one foul instead of the second that she avoided. The jump ball gives it back to the Falcons, and once again, the Saints show some pressure in backcourt. Rashak Rory bounces a pass ahead for Alter. She dribbles into a 14-footer, raises up, and knocks it down. Ashley Alter now with 2 mid-range jumpers in this game, and the Falcons now with a 5-point early lead. Sutterlick rolls off the Dingus screen, now pulls up from 18 along the baseline and knocks that shot down. Janelle Sutterlick tees one up.
Yeah, Sutterlick, huge piece. I think she's a great shooter. Love to see her get a little more aggressive on the offensive end and start taking more shots. You know, she's a very unselfish player, loves to pass the ball, but she's a great shooter.
Natalie Hoff handles for a moment. She just checked in a moment ago. Now Rashak Rory on the drive. High off the glass, never had a chance. Dingus rips down the board and back on the Saints. Sutterlick steers it into the front court. Now backs out. Looking down low for Dingus. Double team comes on her. Able to dribble the way out of it. Now hits it. Reed who drives the baseline. Back to Dingus. Fires from 13. No good. Eternity Reed after the rebound. There's a foul on the floor. So keep it at the Saints' end with 20 on the shot clock.
I love seeing Claire Dingus take that mid-range shot right there. It's something that when we watched her play her first 2 years, you knew she was great on the boards. And I mean, she's one of the best rebounders in the country, and she has a great job of being able to get those putbacks. You know, if she can extend that offensive game out to the free throw line, that makes her so hard to guard.
Adonis fresh on the floor for the Saints. She handles here, works between the circles. Now it's Suttelicht in the corner. Rolls off the Reed screen. And a moving screen called on Eternity Reed. So another foul on the Saints, their second now. And here comes Mallory Vivola checking into the game. This is a huge boost for the Saints. Again, the Saints did not know until just about 10 minutes before tip-off tonight that either Mallory Vivola or Tierney Adonis were going to be able to play, but here they are. Both of them on the floor together now. Remember, these are two players that know each other well. They transferred here together at the same time from a community college in Arizona. Let's see if Vivola can get it going at the offensive end, just like she did in those first two games of the season against Seattle Pacific. That pass knocked out of bounds by Dingus. 16 on the shot clock for the Falcons.
And Falcons love trying to get that ball straight pass into the paint. That's kind of their offense. A lot of slashing towards the rim.
Into the high post for Natalie Hoff. Her shot won't fall, but she's fouled by Reed, and that's her second. And it will send Natalie Hoff to the free throw line.
Well, now we're going to get to see a freshman for the Saints, Ryan Clear, who she looked really good in practice to start the year. And you know, again, as a freshman, it takes a few games to kind of get adjusted to that Division II life. But she really started piecing it together at Northwest Nazarene last weekend. I think she's going to be a very good ball player, and we finally get to see her on Marcus Pavilion.
Again, that was the second foul on Eternity Reed, so she takes the seat. Still in the very early stages of our contest here. About 4.5 minutes gone by in the first quarter. Had a chance to chat with Christy Martin briefly before tonight's contest, Austin. One of the things she told me is that they're in practice this week to gear up for one of the nation's best rebounding teams. Again, they lead the nation in rebounding differential. They are plus 13.5. They average about 41 rebounds a game, hold their opponents to about 27.5. That is a staggering disparity. But the Saints have been working on just sending everyone to the glass in all their drills, all their practices, all their scrimmages this week.
Yeah, they have these pads that the coaches and players will wear that like try and knock at the players as they're going for rebounds. It's almost like something you see in football. They're really trying to get them used to the physicality that the Falcons bring to the glass.
Ryan Clear's first shot won't fall. Back comes Seattle Pacific. Rashak Rory dumps it off. Now a long three on the way from Rachel Berg. That one no good. Clear flies in for the rebound, knocked to the floor, nearly travels after the no call. Able to skitter a pass over to Dingus, and back come the Saints. Adonis. Little jab step. Looking for Dingus down in the post. Drops it off, gets it back, fires away from three. That one's short. But a foul on the Falcons will keep the ball at the Saints' ends, and it will also bring us to a stoppage in play. So 4:35 left here in the first quarter. Seattle Pacific with an early 8-4 lead.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes, for all of us.
.435 left in the first quarter between the Falcons and the Saints here inside Marcus Pavilion. Saints off to a bit of a slow start shooting, just 1 of 7 from the floor. They're 0 for 2 as well from 3. The only field goal so far put up by Janelle Suttelicht, a deep 2 down along the baseline. But Saints really struggling to get their shot off so far in this game.
Yeah, Seattle Pacific doing a great job. They're playing defense, just exactly what they did in the first matchups between these two. The Saints really struggled offensively and then kind of really then clicked into it in that first game. That second game, it was Seattle Pacific's defense really just flooded and took away so many opportunities for the Saints. And again, we've talked about Saints rely on getting those offensive rebounds in the second chance. It's hard to do that against a team like this.
Vavola, her first touch, gets it back here. DeDonis reverses it into the hands of Sutherland. She steps back for a long two. That one a little short. And the Saints' cold shooting continues. Just 1 of 8 to start this game. Alter dives through. Unable to connect, however, is Rushak Rohr as she handles here. Skips to the free throw line. Double team, so kicks. Now Alter on the drive, dumps it off. That pass from Natalie Hoff won't fall, but the Saints turn it over in backcourt. Alter with it. No look pass to the corner for Bird. Saints able to recover. And now it's Hoff in the high post. Berg on the drive. Extricates herself from the defender. Her shot won't fall, but after a couple of Saints hit the deck, all alone beneath the basket is Ashlyn Burgess. And she's able to knock it home and extend the lead to 10-4. Tierney DeDonis with a long three. That's off the back heel. Dingus after the rebound wrestles with not one but 2 Falcons defenders. Jump ball is called, but it'll stay with the Saints.
Yeah, right there, there's evidence of 9 times out of 10, Claire's getting that offensive rebound. Instead, it's just a tie-up. You know, Seattle Pacific, they do a great job, not just on the defensive end. They also will get a lot of offensive rebounds, and we saw it right there, and now a breakout.
Ashley Alter steps into the passing lane, knocks it into backcourt, races out, takes it all the way back. Now she nearly forces another steal. As Vavola and DeDonis perhaps a little lackadaisical on that inbound. But Ashley Alter, you're seeing the number of different things that she can do. She's so versatile. She's such a good scorer. Again, comes in tonight averaging GNAC best 15.5 points per game. Already with a couple of stalwart defensive plays as well. And at least for the moment, Christy Martin has seen enough. She signals for the timeout. It's a 30, so we'll keep it here. But Austin, 1 for 9 to start this game. Saints need to start hitting some shots.
Yeah, they do, and it's the turnovers that are really killing them. It's not letting them get into a flow. And for Seattle Pacific, man, it helps when your best offensive player is also one of your best defensive players. Alter doing a great job. Saints right now just don't have a handle on being able to get the ball up the court. You can feel Alter is just somewhere lurking behind, ready for that steal. And so right now for the Saints, I think what they need to do is I'd like seeing in the early beginnings, they tried getting that ball down low. Maybe try to get the ball down low to Claire or Ryan Clear and then work the ball back outside from there.
Yeah, we'll see what Christy Martin dialed up. Sutherland on the drive, and it looks like a foul on the floor. And it is. It's called against Seattle Pacific. That will, in fact, send the Saints into the bonus after the second foul of the first quarter is whistled against Abril Rashak Rory. That's going to force her to take a seat. And for the final 3 minutes and change of the first quarter, Saints will be shooting 2. Sutherland tees up the first. That one pops out. You know, Austin, it's funny. This game started with that administrative technical, and Claire Dingus, uncharacteristically, remember, she's an 85% free throw shooter in her Saints career just about. Shot close to 90% as a freshman, misses 2 free throws, and the Saints have just sort of been out of sorts shooting the basketball ever since. But it's such an odd way to start this game with one of those administrative technicals that happen. So you wind up with 2 foul shots before the game even begins. But it's sort of indicative of how the Saints have been shooting ever since.
Yeah, and I think, you can't pin it all on it by any means, but I definitely think not having 2 of your seniors who are constantly on the floor, not until just minutes before the game, that also kind of, mentally it's hard to get into your normal rhythm when you don't have those 2 players till just minutes. So Saints just, I think right now, kind of on their heels a bit. And that 3-ball good, and the Falcons are capitalizing on it.
Ashlyn Burgess able to tee it up, and our first double-digit lead of the game is up on the board. 15-5 Falcons. Sutherland has her drive knocked out of bounds. Keep it with the Saints in. 2:25 to play here in the period.
Yeah, Ashlyn Burgess is a player who I think she's a starting 5 caliber player easily. She's a really good ball player. And, for Seattle Pacific to be able to bring a weapon off the bench like that really helps. And then when they're able to come up and make defensive stops like that, again, it really lifts the energy of this team.
A foul away from the ball, and the Saints will be back at the line. This one called on Caprice Boston. That's her first. And we'll also get our first look of the night at Maren Budeman. She checks in, relieving Janelle Sutterlicht. So Morris at the line for the Saints.
And Budeman, a transfer from Cal BAP. One of the nicest people you could ever run into. Always coming in, talking to our athletic director, Bob Grisham. She does a great job for the Saints. She's such a key part to why we're playing this game today, because she does a lot of work with the COVID testing that all the student athletes do. And so she's one of the technicians who runs those tests. So very smart student athlete. I'm excited to see her on the floor, but here's Ashley Alter once again. Wow, what a game she's having to start.
Give Alter 9 points already in the first quarter. Just 8 minutes gone by. She's on pace for like 70. Lo Morris with it down low. Finds Dingus along the baseline. First shot won't go, but she's called for traveling beneath the basket. Saints still just stuck in first gear so far to open this game. That is the 5th turnover on the Saints in the first quarter. Saints pick up that backcourt pressure once again. SPU just sort of calmly walks it over the timeline. Berg loops a pass down toward the baseline, run down in the corner by Boston. Now it's Hoff from 17, straight away. That won't fall. Back comes St. Martin's. Lo Morris, little hesitation move. Tries to free herself of the defender, actually nearly runs over her, but it is Malia Mastora who kind of absorbs the business into that one. And Morris back to the line where she just connected on 2 foul shots a few moments ago.
Yeah, free throws are going to be key. Clearly, with how the start of this game is going, Saints are going to have to earn their points at the line tonight. And so now for the Saints, this also gives you an opportunity to kind of slow the game down, get you back on the board, some players in the right mindset of, seeing that ball go through the rim. This is exactly what St. Martin's needed. Seattle Pacific right now controlling the momentum of this game, though.
Berg eases her way over the timeline, picked up as she crosses it by Budeman. Gets it back in the corner. Mastora handles for a moment. Now back to Berg, 10 on the shot clock for the Falcons. Berg with a hesitation move. Bounce pass sets up Ashlyn Burgess for 3. Hit one a moment ago. That one won't fall. Long rebound tracked down right here in front of us by Burgess. Slips a pass back to Mastora. Berg at the top of the key, guarded by Dingus. Rolls off the screen. Defensive switch, puts clear on her for a moment. Burgess mishandles the pass, gathers it. Shot clock winding down. And Burgess with a double dribble violation deep in the shot clock. So another turnover for Seattle Pacific. They haven't been at their sharpest, the Falcons. That's their 3rd turnover. But they have played a very solid first quarter of basketball. They're shooting 54%, 7 of 13 from the floor. As we hit the 30-second mark here in the first quarter. About a 6-second differential between the shot and game clocks. Morris steps back, thinks about a 3. Instead winds up traveling with the basketball. So the 6th turnover for the Saints here in the first period. Shot clock off for the final 25 seconds of the quarter.
Yeah, Saints right now are being their worst enemy. And they're turning the ball over. They're just not letting themselves get into a rhythm. They need a defensive stop here. Try and get the momentum back on your side going into that quarter break.
Saints have a foul to give if they want it. Who knows if they'll use it. They're being pretty handsy out there. Here's Burgess. Rolls off the screen, reverses it back to Berg. She looks down low, now dribbles to the elbow. Skips a pass to the corner, 3 on the way. Good. Man, oh man, what a way to close the quarter for the Falcons. They have built their largest lead of the game thus far, 21-9. What a first quarter it suddenly is for the Falcons here on the GNAC Digital Network.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
Second quarter action set to begin here, but the first quarter, well, it was all Falcons. 21-9 the score for the Falcons in that first quarter. They shoot 57% from the floor, including 67% from three. They connected on 4 of their 6 shots from beyond the three-point line. Seattle Pacific doing just about everything right. They turned it over 3 times. For the Saints, they shot 1 for 9 from the floor. So of those 9 points up on the board, just 1 field goal among them. They went to the line 10 times in the first quarter, making 7 of those free throws. The lone statistical bright spot for the Saints right now, they are out-rebounding the nation's top rebounding team 8-6.
Yeah, I think Saints would be happy with a lead versus out-rebounding. No, but, right now, hat off to Seattle Pacific. They're playing good basketball right now, and they came out with a solid defensive game plan. Saints have not been able to find an answer. I think Claire Dingus needs to get some more shots here in the second quarter to try help break that grip.
Emily Nelson nearly knocks the pass away. Recovering, though, is Brundage. Under 10 on the shot clock as Burgess starts her drive. Alter down to the baseline for Boston. Kicks to Burgess. A long 2 out of the hands of Ashlyn Burgess. And just like that, it's a 14-point deficit for the Saints. They trail 23-9.
Yeah, something you don't see a lot in basketball anymore is that mid-range jumper. Falcons are feasting off that shot right now.
Oh, Morris spins into the lane. Her shot won't fall. Saints 1 for 10 from the floor. Ashley Alter the rebound. She'll steer it the other way. Now Burgess with it. They look down low for Brundage, but nothing doing. Alter goes one way, then the other. Hands it off for Burgess. Still looking for Brundage down low, unable to get it to her. 7 on the shot clock. Alter skips around the screen. Mastora on the drive. Little runner won't fall. Dingus tracks down the board. Quickly ahead, Low Morris finds Clear in transition. Gita Donis thinks about a 3. Puts her head down, gets it back. And another Saints turnover. However, Ryan Clear nearly able to rip the ball cleanly away, but make it Marin Budeman on the floor. My apologies. So getting the hang of the new faces to this program.
Yeah, our first
here.
game here.
We'll get it right. We'll have it down in time for the second half, I promise.
Yeah, something that's jumping out to me in the ledger right now. You have Claire Dingus, Player of the Week, averaging 26 points a game at NNU. 0 points so far.
Boston can't get it going. Backs it out. Offensive foul going to be whistled here, I believe, and it is. Standing her ground just beyond the protected area down beneath the basket.
Something that Christy Martin and her staff really prides themselves on is taking charges. You see it every time. The bench is going to get animated. The players are going to get animated. That's something they want to make sure they're in position to do. And so for the Saints, a nice little momentum lift right there. Kind of brings the spirits back up.
Dingus to the deck. Able to knock it over to Morris. Sutterlook looks down low and said, angles a pass to the corner. Here's Nelson with it. Needs help and finds it. Clear on the drive. Lefty finish won't fall. Dingus after the rebound. Can't corral it, but it will stay with the Saints with 20 seconds on the shot clock.
Saints have had a couple good moves just like that, but they just haven't been able to finish. Morris comes to mind, and then that one right there, and there's Dingus. There it is. That's exactly what the Saints needed.
So Claire Dingus, just the second field goal of this game for the Saints. They now trail 23-11. Let's hope they can start stringing some of those made baskets together. Brundage down low with good position. Forces up a shot way too strong. Low Morris, a quick outlet ahead for Dingus. Look at Alter run the floor. She's able to deflect it and redirect that pass. It just winds up going out of bounds, but Dingus on the run out was separating a bit from Alter, but she closed the gap, and that's another good defensive play from Ashley Alter. Low Morris reverses it back to Sutterlicht. Now into the corner, and Dingus will try for three. A little strong. Weak side rebound, Ryan Clear. She redirects up top. Emily Nelson trying to establish position down low. Now it's Morris on the drive. Dribbles into a double team. Kicks, and Ryan Clear will try for three. That looks good, and it is. Ryan Clear sends in a much-needed three. It brings the lead back to within single digits at 23-14. Look at Ryan Clear stepping out and knocking down a deep one.
Yeah, really came alive last week at Northwest Nazarene, and that's why Christy Martin was so high on this young girl. She is a great ball player, and she's only going to get better. Really reminds me a lot of what Claire Dingus was kind of like that freshman year. A monster on the boards, and now starting to knock down some big shots.
And the Saints earned a much-needed stop at the other end. Finally, a little bit of momentum creeping back for the Saints. Sutterlick rolls off the double screen up top. Now backs her way toward the corner. Dingus reverses it for Morris. Nelson with position. Make it clear down there. Oh, shot blocked. Just swatted away by Brundage. Having none of it. Winds up with Sutterlick. She'll try for three. That one just does pop out. That would have brought the Saints right back into this ball game. Trying to stay connected here with 6 minutes left in the first half. Long three on the way from the corner, no good. Offensive rebound, Brundage forces up a shot, won't fall. Morris ties up with Mastora beneath the basket. Hear the referee calling easy, 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 easy beneath the basket. But cooler heads prevail. But the jump ball does give it back to the Saints. So another stop. They're starting to play better at the defensive end, and they're looking more crisp and more efficient at the offensive end as well.
Yeah, Saints are starting to get some momentum back on their side, and it's really stepped up at the defensive end. They're starting to come up with stops there, and now it's leading to baskets on the offensive end. Again, you just need to slowly chip away at this lead for the Saints.
Patented Claire Dingus move from the high post there. It won't fall, but Low Morris able to stick the putback, and all of a sudden a 7-point game, and Mike Simonson needs a timeout. Austin, interestingly, Seattle Pacific has scored just one bucket at the outset of this quarter. They have not scored since. And Brunson calls the timeout, and we will take it with a 23-16 hour score. The Saints have cut that 14-point lead in half.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes for all of us.
Well, the Saints have clawed their way back into this thing. They were a little bit cold. The cold streak continued into the first moments of the second quarter, but Austin, the Saints have now connected on 3 of their last 4 shots. SPU, meanwhile, made their first shot of the quarter, but has misfired on their last 5 shots. So all of a sudden, it's the Falcons who have gone cold, while the Saints have continued to regain their footing, and suddenly they're right back in this game at 23-16.
Yeah, if I'm Seattle Pacific, I got to get the ball back in the hands of Alter and see what she can do. Try and force maybe some offense as you need it right now. She's one of the best, if not the best scorer in the conference. You got to utilize her.
Berg handles. She had a really good first quarter, just running this SPU offense, and she connects from deep right there. So Rachel Berg having a really solid game thus far, and her 3 has restaked the Falcons to a double-digit lead. Sutterlicht looks down low. Now defers to Dingus. Circles back to the top of the key. Now Suttelicht on the drive. Berg hand checks her. And that is the second foul of the quarter against the Falcons. And Berg's first of the game.
Yeah, I really like how Berg plays.
Yeah.
She does it all, offense, defense. When I was watching up the first few games up at Seattle Pacific, I really thought like she was their second best player. And was kind of that all-conference, like second team, all-conference level kind of player. She really is that good in my opinion.
Well, a good-looking, strong take to the basket from Emily Nelson does not net points, but it will send her to the free throw line after she's fouled on the drive by Natalie Hoff. Her free throw a little off. And now the third foul of the second quarter on the Falcons.
Yeah, right now for the Saints, a lot of that offense is coming from the inside. We've yet to see offense from the guards, really. And so I think that might change as the game goes on. But again, be interesting to see how long does Christy Martin leave Tierney and Mallory on the bench. Again, it's hard, though, when they really haven't been able to practice and just got to the gym minutes before the game. It's hard.
Rashak Rory turns it over. Good anticipation from Ryan Clear. She winds up just ripping that ball out of the air. Rashak Rory with perhaps her first mistake of this contest. Morris looks down low. Nelson with good position once again. Her tough angle shot high off the glass won't fall. And Alter comes back for the Falcons. Handles here. Burgess with it. Rashak Rory looks inside. Instead, Burgess comes out to get it. 12 on the shot clock as Alter tees up a three. That one lips out. It looks like we'll stay at the Falcons' end after a loose ball foul whistled inside on Emily Nelson. And that's her second foul. Marin Budeman comes back on, displacing Claire Dingus.
Yeah, Saints are going to leave Emily Nelson on the floor with those two fouls. So we'll see if Seattle Pacific wants to go straight at Nelson.
Berg with it. Now Natalie Hoff back to Berg. Works her way around the screen. Sets herself up at the elbow extended and knocks that down. So the stellar play continues tonight for Rachel Berg.
And Berg didn't hesitate, and that was the key right there. Right when she came around that screen, she saw she had about 2 feet of space, and she didn't need more than that, just pulled right up.
Morris steers her way toward the corner, sets up Suttelicht for a three. That one a little strong, but Nelson there for the weak side rebound. Looked like it caught the rim, but the shot clock did not reset. Doesn't matter as Budeman works her way into the paint, knocks down the shot and draws a foul.
Well, I think that the shot clock not resetting really helped the Saints.
That was interesting. It looked for all the world like that shot definitely caromed off of the rim on that side. However, we played on.
Kind of lit a fire under the Saints, and they had to take a shot, and it worked. And so sometimes, not thinking and just reacting works out.
And that's actually a costly foul as well for Seattle Pacific. That's number 3 on starting point guard Abril Rashak Rory. So she's going to take a seat likely for the rest of the first half. Budeman cannot connect on the free throw. And it's 28-19. Good defensive play from Eternity Reed. Matched up against the much taller Natalie Hoff down in the post. Deflects that pass out of bounds. She handles here. Berg rolls off the screen. They look down low again for Hoff. Berg finds her. A good post defense from the Saints, and it pays off. Good box out as well. Ryan Clear doing a great job. Kind of snuck underneath Hoff, kept her from getting her feet set too close to the basket, forced her into a tough shot, then boxed her out and got the rebound. At the other end, Lo Morris, tough drive, can't get it to fall. Ashlyn Burgess steps around the defender, nearly travels, able to knife through. Her shot, however, blocked over the top by Eternity Reed. So The Saints are really playing much better defense here in the later stages of the second quarter.
Yeah, I want to go into the stats and see when Ryan Clear came onto the floor, what was the score? I mean, she, to me, has been the turning point for the Saints, both energy-wise and defensively. Saints really playing a lot better with her on the floor.
And they do a nice job of switching right there. That disrupts the flow of the offense. Now, Alter on a very tough drive shot, not close. Ball on the deck. Bodies go flying all over the place. 1 second on the shot clock, and it's going to expire. Well, no, it won't. There's 1 second showing on the shot clock. Falcons are going to have to just touch a pass up toward the basket as best they can.
Yeah, 1
and
second.
That jump ball keeps it with the Falcons, but they have just 1 second showing on the shot clock.
Yeah, I think Saints just play aggressive out on the wings. It's going to be a touch three.
Nope, did not get it off in time. Shot missed everything anyway. So it's a shot clock violation no matter how you slice it. So more great defense from the Saints. Austin, they're really starting to find themselves here in the late stages of the first half.
Yeah, they really are, and what they're doing is they're doing a nice job of not allowing Seattle Pacific to get that ball down low. No deep entry passes. Seattle Pacific, when they were connecting with a lot of those mid-range shots, those are now starting to go away. And it's the plays of like Eternity Reed able to go in and out and play all around on the floor, helping the Saints cover ground.
Well, as good as they've been at the defensive end, they still continue to struggle at the offensive end. They had a nice little flow there for a minute when they cut the lead back down to 7. But the Saints still now just shooting 22% from the floor, 5 of 22, and just 1 of 7 from 3. And an offensive foul there gives it back to the Falcons.
As great as you are playing defense, you got to capitalize when you have an opportunity. And right now, Falcons offense just isn't in sync. Saints need to start getting buckets.
Berg, a contested 3 on its way, and it's good. Man, oh man. What a first half for Berg. She's now got 8 points and 3 assists. All 3 of those assists, by the way, coming in the first quarter. She has played so well. Dingus down low, tries to work herself free of the defender, able to do so, steps back just outside the paint and knocks down the 6-footer. That stems the tide for the moment, but the Saints need a couple of stops here with just a buck and a half left in the first half. Bird is open for a moment. Instead, they get it down low into the hands of Hoff. Berg set her up with a really nice pass down low. And Hoff a little slow back to her feet. Let's hope she's okay.
Yeah, it looked like just kind of tangled some feet and came down.
Yep, good to see Natalie Hoff get right back up. Remember, Seattle Pacific lost a very key piece of their team in one of those games against St. Martin's early in this season. Hunter Beeren was off to a fantastic start this season. Had 17 points in the season opener against PLU, and I think it scored another half a dozen or so before she got injured against the Saints in the second game of the season. So big loss for this team. Hunter Beard, a very talented player. Hunter, if you're watching the broadcast from home, rooting on your squad, we're thinking about you. We hope that you get well soon. DeDonis steps into a 3. That one too strong. Morris after the rebound, able to deflect it into the hands of Evola back on the floor. However, her pass deflected away for the moment. Evola gets it back, tees up a 3 from the corner, and it's off the back heel of the iron. Exactly a minute to play. Seattle Pacific with a 12-point lead. That's the number it was at the first quarter break. Burgess tries to extend it, can't get it to fall. And Evola whistled for the foul on the floor. However, it's the 5th on the Saints, I believe. It is. So both teams shooting 2 for the rest of the first half. And it'll start with Natalie Hoff shooting the double bonus for the Falcons.
And they actually call that foul on Lauren Morris, so her second, so she has to go to the bench. So Saints don't catch a break there. I was with you. I thought that one was on Bavola. Kind of got her hand in the cookie jar, it looked like. But now for the Saints, I mean, just looking at the box score here, again, Seattle Pacific, what they're doing a great job of is they're starting to get back into this game using the glass. They're capitalizing on that. That's giving them a lot of second chance opportunities, and that's what allowed them to kind of stave off the run and build this lead back up.
Budeman puts it between the wickets, slings a pass back for Dingus. Now clear in the corner. DeDonis on the drive. Splits the defenders, gets to the rack, lays it up, and a beautiful teardrop finish from Tier to DeDonis. Able to slither right in between 2 Falcons defenders. Draws the Saints back within 12. Shot clock off. for the final 15 seconds of the quarter. Saints would love to have a stop to send them into the halftime break. Little horn set. Berg rolls off it, gets to Alter. Her shot along the baseline won't fall, but she is fouled in the process. Boy, Rachel Berg continues to impress. She's doing such a good job of running this offense. She is a really efficient guard for this team.
Yeah, she's really kind of that all-around player, and what a beautiful play that was right there. They pull the two bigs up in the horn set. It opens up down low. It allows Alter then to cut, and like we said, this cutting offense of the Falcons, you're going to want to watch what happens away from the ball. Berg just rolls around, quick inside pass, Alter layup, and she's going to connect on that layup 9 times out of 10.
Alter, wow, that free throw went bounded straight up in the air off the heel. Saints with some time here. Dita Donis races across the timeline. Spins off the defender. Gets all the way down to the baseline. Shot up and good. Tierney Dita Donis, I believe, beat the buzzer. So Dita Donis with her first 4 points of the game, all of them coming in the final 30 seconds of the first half. And that bucket draws the Saints back to within 11 at 36-25. So the first half largely dominated by Seattle Pacific. We'll see if the Saints can get it going offensively in the second half. 20 minutes down, 20 minutes yet to play. We'll take an extended break here, but please rejoin us in about 12 minutes' time for the Saints women's basketball halftime show. About 12 more minutes, and we will get the halftime show rolling, folks, here on the GNAC Digital Network.
Saints fans, don't forget to tune in next week for homecoming weekend. And even though we can't have you here on campus in Lacey, we are still doing a virtual homecoming event and help us honor the 2021 homecoming court and the homecoming Hall of Fame, Hall of Honor selections. For a sneak peek at what is coming up next week, stay tuned for an interview with one of the inductions. With Shailene, who is being inducted into the 2021 St. Martin's Hall of Honor as a member of the 2008 women's golf team. Shailene, what does this award mean to you personally?
Personally, it means a great deal. I feel very blessed. It's confirmation that all of the hard work, dedication, and commitment, and the willingness to really put the time into my craft has paid off. And then on top of that, having the team aspect. I always talk to my boys about teamwork makes the dream work. So this is something I can talk with them about. Hey, you put in the time and you work together as a team. There's a lot of good things that come out of that.
And what were some fond memories you had of your time at St. Martin's as a student athlete? I'm sure the travel and your teammates come first to mind. What were some fond memories for you?
I think there's not one to specifically pinpoint. I think for me, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity that Bob gave me to be close to home and be able to play and really not have to worry about all the stresses that a lot of athletes have to worry about. And so I just feel like the opportunity, it was once in a lifetime in the courses that I was able to play, the places I was able to travel, the relationships that I was able to build with my teammates and other players as well. It was just overall a great experience, and I'm very thankful, and especially just sticking through and having the degree that I was able to get going through school. It's just all around, it's been great.
And a lot of people know the hard work it takes to be a student athlete on the course, but they don't see what it takes to be a great student also in the classroom. What were some memories that you have from your time at St. Martin's as a student as well that carried over into today?
I would have to say that looking back, I probably could have been more assertive in the classroom. I kind of did enough to get by. And so I think what I would take away from that now is, especially kids that I am coaching now, or even my own kids, is you only get one shot, and making sure you take care of the classroom, because if you're not taking care of it in the classroom, you're not going to be playing your sport. And so that's the bottom line. And Bob was very in the beginning, he made that very clear to me. And so I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about my academics. So I did bad on probably one class, and that's where he got on me. And then I was like, okay, I'm on the straight and narrow. And so it's really important. I always say student athlete first. It's not athlete student. You got to be a student before you're an athlete.
Well, thank you for your time here today. And once again, congratulations on your induction into the St. Martin's Hall of Honor. It is well deserved.
I appreciate it.
And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion for the St. Martin's women's basketball halftime show. Jeff Lucero alongside Austin Burns. And Austin, the Saints were able to regain some footing there in the second quarter, but they still trail by a bundle. It's 36-25 at halftime. Let's quickly get you some halftime stats. First for Falcons, they shot 43% from the floor. 10 points for Ashley Alter. Came in tonight averaging about 15 and a half, so well on her way to a huge game. She's got 10 points to go along with 5 rebounds and 3 steals as well. So Ashley Alter is doing it all at both ends for the Falcons. Rachel Bird chips in with 8 points and a team-high 3 assists in that first half. 7 more points for Ashlyn Burgess. They were 6 of 12 from deep for the Falcons in that first half of play. That's definitely one of the things that the Saints will have to buckle in on here in the second half. For the Saints, they did shoot just under 30%, 8 of 27 from the floor. Lo Morris with a team-high 6 points, 4 points apiece for Claire Dingus and Tierney Didadonis. Saints holding their own on the glass against the best rebounding team in the nation, Austin. They're +1 here at halftime. But little else has really worked so far for the Saints at the offensive end of the floor.
Yeah, it really, for me, it boils down to, for the Saints, they're just not getting the ball inside enough, I feel like, getting some high percentage shots. And something that they love to do is always get out in transition and run. But to do that, you have to rebound. Yep. And Seattle Pacific does a great job at taking that away. So I think Seattle Pacific is really a hard matchup for SMU because they take away how the Saints want to get out in transition and run. And so how do you combat that? Well, one, you need rebounding, and two, you're going to have to start making some shots so Seattle Pacific can't clutter the board as much on the defensive end. And that's something they've been able to do since the Saints aren't shooting such a high percentage. Yep. They can drop back more and make sure they are eating up those rebounds.
Saints did a real nice job of taking care of the basketball in the second quarter. Just 1 turnover after 6 in the first frame. Tierney Didadonis back on the floor here to start the second half. Dingus has it ripped away. The 4th steal of the game already for Ashley Alter. She'll steer it back out, sets up Berg, nearly travels, puts it on the deck, now finds Rashak Rory back on the floor. Thought for a moment they might tag Rashak Rory with what would have been her 4th foul. She's had to sit for the last 3.5 minutes of the first half, but that one actually whistled against Kayla Brundage. That's her 2nd. Our first foul of the second half. Dingus handles high above her head now. It's Lo Morris. Crosses over, picks up her dribble. Suttlet comes to get it. Into the high post for Nelson. Works her way around Kayla Brundage, and Brundage with back-to-back fouls.
That's one of the best rebounders for the Falcons, and there's the sub already. Hoff's going to have to come back on the floor. And now if you're the Saints, I just try and get the ball down low to Emily Nelson on the next possession and let her go right to the basket.
Well, it's paid off a couple of times. That time Nelson starting her drive out near the free throw line. Was able to work her way around the defender. Brundage was trailing behind her, sort of slapped at her arms over the top. But yeah, that 3rd foul sends her to the bench. Hoff back on, as Austin mentioned, as Nelson knocks down the first of 2 free throws. 36-26 our score. We're just barely into the second half if you're just joining us. It was largely a first half of basketball controlled by Seattle Pacific. They look really, really good in the first quarter. Saints really buckled down on defense in the second quarter. But for the Saints, it really does just come down to one thing, too, Austin. They've got to make shots. 8 of 27 to start this game. They've taken care of the ball. They've defended pretty well. They just have to make shots.
And credit that a lot, too. And there it is. There's the 4th foul.
My goodness gracious.
Tough break.
Developing storylines for the Falcons. That already the 4th foul whistled against Abril Rashak Rory. She will check out, likely for an extended amount of time with those 4 fouls. So back on Malia Mastora. Mike Simonson forced to call upon a couple of his reserves. Now, granted, they don't lose a whole lot when these players are on the floor. This is a good, balanced, deep team. But certainly some of that rugged leadership provided by Rashak Rory and Brundage gone for a while for this squad. Saints nearly turned it over. Now Lo Morris posted up. Tries to kind of squirm her way around Berg. Nearly traveled. Couldn't get the shot to fall, then commits the foul. Out of frustration more than anything, Lo Morris sends Berg to the deck.
That was a hard rebound there for Berg. But, again, comes down with the board, and Seattle Pacific doing what they do best. But for me, Tierney Dean-Adonis, she gets 2 big fouls. She gets them drawn on her here in the beginning of the second half, and that's what she brings to the floor for the Saints. And when the Saints really missed that at the beginning of the game, that senior leadership from Tierney.
That was the 3rd foul on Morris, so she takes a seat. Back on for the Saints is Marin Budeman. 3 ball squared away. That was Caprice Boston with a wide open look. Extends the lead for the Falcons back to 12 at 39-27.
The Saints last time tried to go straight to Emily Nelson. Now they're going to call her out to set the screen.
Falcons now 7 of 13 for 3. Bounce pass inside for Nelson. Lefty shot on the way is good. Look at the little floating runner from Emily Nelson, able to finish with the left hand. Emily Nelson really starting to grow into herself. She's going to be a key cog in the wheel for the Saints for the next couple of years. That long perimeter shot no good. Dean-Adonis the other way. Bounce pass down low for Dingus. Double team comes. She tries to get it back to Sutterlick, but Berg there with the quick hands knocks it out of bounds. Keep it with the Saints. 21 on the shot clock.
I mean, right there is why you always keep your hands up. Coaches are going to tell you keep those hands up. It's because of plays like that. The Falcons have knocked, 6, 7. It's on a counting stat, but at least 6 or 7 passes out of play tonight already. They do a good job not allowing those exit passes.
Nelson down low. Gets the repost. Goes to work on Hoff. Now kicks to the corner. Dean-Adonis tries for 3. Swish! Tierney Dean-Adonis from in front of assistant coach Jared Stottlemyre. Knocks down the 3 and brings the Saints back within 7 at 39-32. A very timely 3 for the Saints. They have struggled from the perimeter all night. That's just their second made 3. Now 2 of 10 from deep. And a travel at the other end. So once again, Austin, the Saints cut the lead back down to 7. They were unable to get any closer than the 7 points in that second quarter. But back-to-back buckets right here would be huge.
Yeah, and what the Saints are doing is they're getting that ball down low. Emily Nelson converted the first time. That time she sees the double team come, kicks it right out, open 3 ball. That was beautiful inside-out basketball.
Budeman goes to work. Now skips it back over the top. Nelson on the drive, spins into the lane, whistles up a shot, misses everything. Gets it back, goes right to the rack. Shot blocked that time by Hoff. Shot clock at 19. Dingus now in the short corner. Skips for Dean-Adonis, rolls off the high screen. Bounce pass inside, taken away by Berg.
Yeah, tough bounce pass when there's 4 Falcons standing in the paint. That one right there, that's where you just come around the screen and take the shot.
Boston gets her feet set, tees up another 3 and knocks it down. That's a momentum killer as Boston answers back. She's hit 2 threes here in the third quarter, starting to find her stroke now. 8 for 14 now are the Falcons from 3. That pass intended inside for Nelson, but it skips off the foot of Boston. Saints still trying to feed the post. They're definitely going back to Emily Nelson. She'll come out of the game now, so a smaller lineup on the floor for the Saints as Eternity Reed comes back out. Saints all just sort of do a little dance around the top of the key, but the inbounds pass is taken away. Boston nearly loses it, able to recover. And the Falcons will reset as Berg goes to work. Out of that horn set once again. Dingus comes out to get her. Berg needs help. Finds Boston in the corner. Berg looks at a 3. Sealed off along the baseline. Tries to force a pass inside. It skips off the hands of Alter, but makes its way to Hoff. Her 3 won't fall. Ball tracked down in the corner. Batted around for a moment. It will stay with the Falcons. 5:25 left here in the third quarter. Falcons with a 9-point lead.
That was some good defense by the Saints, taking away a lot of the flashes to the rim. Now they're going to have to do it again for 20 seconds. But again, that's what Seattle Pacific does to you with this great rebounding, is you play a great defensive set, but then they're able to come up with the ball, and now you got to do it again. And that really drains on you both physically and mentally.
Inbounds comes to Berg. Now Hoff in the high post, guarded by Reed. Alter steps back from 16. Shot misses everything. Rebound covered up by the Saints. Didadonis with her head up. Gets it back. Ten on the shot clock for Didadonis. Needs help, finds Dingus. Dingus, double dribble. And that will bring us to a stoppage in play. So Seattle Pacific maintains that advantage. Right now it sits at 9 at 41-32 on the GNAC Digital Network.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
.451 left in the third quarter between the Falcons and the Saints. Remember, no games count in the league this year. The GNAC opting to not hold a conference season this year. That allows the Saints and any other school that is unpaused women's basketball activities to schedule whomever they'd like. Of course, Northwest Nazarene and Seattle Pacific right now the only other two schools in the GNAC who have officially committed to. Oh, I take that back. Central Washington now has unpaused basketball activities. And fans, be sure you take a look at the Saints schedule to keep up to date on all things happening, because it's sort of a fluid living document, if you will. That schedule might change another time or two even before it's all said and done. Remember, the Saints have just scheduled a couple of games against Northwest University. They will see them here, I believe, next weekend, in fact. Is that correct?
Correct.
All
yeah.
right.
I mean, everything's just kind of happening. It's the wild, wild west. It's just, you know, you really just go, hey, we're showing up for a game, and we don't really know who maybe until the day of. It's been, hey, we're playing basketball. That's all that matters, right?
Shot clock winding down for the Falcons. Down to 3. Burgess able to step through, but she travels with the basketball. So a good defensive stand for the Saints. They stiffen at the defensive end once again. Well, they still struggle at the offensive end. They've got to start stringing some makes together. Let's see if they can get one here. Didadonis, head up, looking inside, trying to find somebody. No one's popping out. Sort of a 1-4 flattened out set for the Saints. Now Ryan Clark handles in front of Christy Martin along that Saints sideline. Big time step through from Marin Butterman. Shot won't fall. So another Saints misfire, another defensive rebound for Seattle Pacific. Alter on the drive, cut off nicely by Reed. Gives it back to Berg. Now Burgess comes to get it. Malia Mastora handles. Jump ball as reaching around and tying up Natalie Hoff was Marin Budeman. 10 seconds on the shot clock. It'll stay with the Falcons. Alter to trigger the inbound.
I think you have to look at Berg here if you're Seattle Pacific, and ball goes straight in her hands.
She comes to get it. Her errant pass works its way toward the timeline. Seattle Pacific able to sort it out, but 1 second on the shot clock as that shot will not fall for Malia Mastora. However, she's able to draw the foul with 1 second on the shot clock. Saints doing, once again, everything right defensively. But then a broken play. Everything just a total bust there for Seattle Pacific, but bailed out as Mastora able to draw some contact. and knocks down the first of 2 free throws.
Yeah, and it's not going to show up in the stat sheet, but I guarantee you it's something the coaches will look at for Seattle Pacific. Ashlyn Burgess saved that play by running all the way down, making that pass to keep it from being a backcourt violation. Again, doesn't go in the playbook by any means or the stat book, but that's a play that saved Seattle Pacific and gets points on the board.
Back to an 11-point lead for SPU. Sutterlick handles up top. Little staggered double screen action. Tierney able to wrap around a pass. Out it goes. 3 out of the hands of Budeman won't fall, and back comes Berg.
That was a good look for the Saints. Nice wraparound pass. They make the extra pass to get the wide open shot. Just not falling right now. Not their night.
Alter yet to score here in the third quarter. Had 10 points by halftime. Still leads all scorers. Burgess's 3 might have been partially deflected. That was woefully short. Shot clock winding down once again. Hoff goes to work. Works her way around the defender and muscles a shot up and in.
Well, that's been the story of the game right there. Saints play great defense. You get the shot clock all the way down, and the Falcons somehow, some way, find a way to get on the board.
The defender falls down, so Dingus just says, why not? But her 16-footer won't fall. Berg the other way for the Falcons. Into the high post now for Hoff, guarded by Reed. Mistora on the drive. 10 on the shot clock as Berg gets a touch. Now skips a pass to the corner. Wide open 3 for Mistora, buries it. My goodness, the biggest lead of the game now for the Falcons at 48-32. Once again, no surprise here. Rachel Berg sets up her teammate. The deep 3 from the opposite corner, squared up and knocked down. And the Falcons now out to a 16-point lead.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes for all of us.
Well, St. Martin's fans, the Saints continue to play well at the defensive end of the floor. They continue to stay with the nation's best rebounding team. Now just 1 rebound off the pace for the Falcons. They're taking decent care of the basketball. They do have 4 turnovers here in the third quarter, but had just 1 in the second quarter. They're doing a lot of things pretty well in this game. But one thing they're not doing is making shots. Just 10 of 35 now from the floor, 28%. Austin, you can't win a game if you shoot 28% from the floor.
No, Jeff, you talked about at the beginning of this game the difference in tempo that these two teams want to play. And right now this has been all Seattle Pacific in terms of tempo, that slow defensive style game. And that's why they're on top by 16. They have controlled from the onset of this one. And Saints, they're going to have to start making some baskets. I think you're going to need a couple threes to go down if you're going to want to change the course of this one.
Budeman finds Dididana. She spins to the elbow. Now hands it off for Dingus. Pump fake. Now back to Dididana with 5 on the shot clock. Crosses over. Spins, sets, fires, hits. Tierney Dididana. What a sequence that was. That was a deep in the shot clock possession for the Saints, but they come out on the good side as Dididana with a beautiful move hits the mid-range floater. 48-34 our score as we move it to the 1-minute mark of the third. Alter set up for a wide open 3. No good. Long weak side rebound comes down to Brundage. Hands it off for Alter again inside. She hits the deck. Several players go sprawling. Ball trickles out of bounds, and it will go back to St. Martin. So here in the closing moments of the third quarter, Saints just got a bucket. They could surely use another one here. They'll bring Vivola back on the floor. Has not played a whole lot tonight. That's probably the product of just being kind of rusty, having to sit out of practice while going through the COVID protocols. Cleared just 10 minutes before tonight's game to play.
Yeah, it's a coach's job to put a player in a position to succeed. If you're not warmed up and ready to go because of those circumstances, it doesn't do the player any justice to put them on the floor and just ask them. But there's Vivola, and that one just rims out. May have gotten away with a foul there, and now Falcons will push.
What it does, though, is it gives the Saints a 2-for-1. So they should have earned themselves an extra possession here toward the end of the quarter. Oh, Brundage she absolutely traveled. For a moment, I thought they were going to call a foul. Whew. Brundage with a very obvious walk is whistled for. That does give it back to the Saints. Shot clock off now for the final 26 seconds of the third quarter. They trail by 14. Absolutely would love to get a bucket here to close the third quarter. Clear on the drive. Kicks to the corner. Vivola, 3 on the way is good. Huge bucket for Mallory Vivola. Brings the Saints back within shouting distance. 1 second left on the game clock here in the third. 3 is on the way. It's no good. So the Saints with the last 5 points here in the third quarter to draw themselves back within a reasonable amount. Falcons had a 16-point lead a moment ago. It's down to 11 at 48-37. 30 minutes gone by, 10 more yet to play. Come right back for the stretch run between the Falcons and the Saints.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
Austin, there are several things I love about the women's game going to 4 quarters instead of playing the 2 20-minute halves, namely among them fewer media timeouts, more opportunities for buzzer beaters. But one of my very favorite things about 4 quarters, more 2-for-1 opportunities, and that's exactly what the Saints just did. Tierney did on us with a nice little mid-range jump shot. Saints were able to get the ball back for the final possession of the third quarter. Vivoli pays it off with a huge 3 to bring the Saints back into this game. I love 2-for-1s. I love 4 quarters. I love women's college basketball.
I mean, it's so much fun to watch, and the move to the 4-quarter system really, in my mind, helped the game as Claire Dingus fights through traffic and will be going to the line for it. But like you said, Jeff, 3-pointer right at the end of the half. You're coming off of a defensive stop. That's what the Saints needed. Got momentum back onto their side, and now you come out with the ball here to start the fourth quarter, and you get to go to the line, cut this into single digits. And I think for the Falcons, they're going to have to, and they did. They already put Brunridge back in the game, and she picks up her 4th foul. Now she has to go back to the bench. So they're going to have to play some substitution game down the stretch. Balancing those fouls to key players.
Dingus came in tonight shooting 87% at the line. So far, though, 0 for 3, but breaks it right there. She connects on the second of 2 foul shots. That brings the Saints back within 10. So a 6-0 run straddling the third and fourth quarters run here for St. Martin's. They played well defensively. Can they get some more stops? Another traveling violation whistled against Seattle Pacific. This one goes against Caprice Boston. So SPU getting a little careless with the basketball. That's a good, fundamental, very sound team, however. I'm sure look to button that up here in the fourth quarter. Tough pass as DeDonis tried to connect with Clear streaking down the weak side.
Well, and there you go. If you're Seattle Pacific, you come away. Nice job. Just, again, hands up. They do a great job of keeping their hands up at all times, and it just takes away so many passing lanes for the Saints. You know, this is, again, a well-coached squad, and you can tell by just that kind of play right there.
Saints playing some 1-3-1 here. They will throw this look around many times during the ball game. I believe it's the first time we've seen it tonight. Truth be told, I haven't been paying the closest attention, but I'm seeing it right now, and it's working. All kinds of trouble, and it forces Mike Simonson to burn a timeout. He'll call for one. As that 1-3-1, the trapping, pressing half-court defense for the Saints flummoxes the Falcons for a moment. It's a full timeout, so we'll take it with them. 48-38 our score, 8:50 to play on the GBAC Digital Network.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes for all of us.
We've talked at several times throughout tonight's broadcast that the Saints have continued to play really good defense. One of the things they also did in the third quarter, Austin, they held Ashley Alter scoreless. Those first 10 minutes of the second half went by without a single Ashley Alter sighting in the scoring column.
Yeah,
so
not
Saints
an easy
continuing
thing
to play good defense in this game. But as we keep saying, they have to make shots.
Yeah, they do. And for me, you have to go to your best player on the floor, and that's Claire Dingus. And she's coming off of 26.5 points in the two games at NNU. And another thing that they've done a great job of, Jeff, you pointed this out to me, was she only has, 4 rebounds on the night as well. And this is a player who's one of the best rebounders in the country, averaging 11.5 per game. So, I mean, that is not an easy thing to do. So credit to Seattle Pacific. They have really limited the Saints' best player, and now Saints just trying to find other ways. But there you go. That helps for St. Martin's.
Yeah, Ryan Clear has really had a sneaky good. You talked about how Ryan Clear coming into this game really sort of changed the fortunes for the Saints, and there's another example of what she's done so well tonight, which is just be a pest, an absolute bother at the defensive end. That time just sort of rattles Rachel Berg into a really unforced turnover. She just took her eye off the pass. It bounced off her knee, rolls out of bounds. Seattle Pacific still without a shot attempt here in the fourth quarter. Dingus can't connect. Weak side rebound comes down to Boston. Here's that 1-3-1 again. Little trap out top. Dingus able to rip it away. Hits the deck, hands it off behind her to Vivola. Eternity Reed comes to get it. And Tierney Didadonis will reset the Saints offense. Crosses over, steps back. Thinks about a 19-footer, now hands it off for Vivola. Gets to the rack, lays it up and in. Mallory Vivola able to angle her way to the basket and lays it in, and the Saints back within 8 at 48-40. What a beautiful offensive sequence for the Saints.
Absolutely. I think Christy Martin was the one who did that. And there's Claire Dingus again, and now Saints are out in transition. This is where they're lethal.
Didadonis gets to the rack. Whistles blow, and it will send Didadonis to the line. Let's talk for a second, though, about how Claire Dingus has just ratcheted up the defensive intensity by orders of magnitude. Back-to-back steals at the top of that 1-3-1 defense. It is giving Seattle Pacific fits.
Yeah, it's reminding me of the beginning of the game when Alter came up with those 3 quick steals and the Saints couldn't get into a rhythm. Now the Saints are returning the favor. And so for me, though, Christy Martin, after that first steal by Dingus, she looked at Tierney and went, let's go, keep it up. And Tierney was starting to back up and kind of set up a play. Instead, they just roll right into something, and they are not allowing Seattle Pacific to get set in that defense. And so that's something that the Saints need to keep doing. Keep playing that high tempo, just go right at the rim and kind of dish the ball off and then look for a better shot there.
Didadonis good on both free throws, and the Saints back to within 6. They have taken 10 points off that lead. Down low it comes. Good entry pass, but unable to finish is Boston. Another scramble on the deck. Another jump ball called. Who's in the middle of it? No surprise here. It's Claire Dingus once again getting on the floor. Leads the team in floor burns pretty much year in, year out. And already she's been around the basketball at the top of that 1-3-1. Just.
Yeah, she doesn't wear those knee pads for nothing. I mean, you know, you're never going to question Claire Dingus and her intensity and just willingness to. She's going to sell out every single play. There is not a play that she takes off. So, you know, for St. Martin's, you know, again, another basket here. I think then if I'm Seattle Pacific, I got to look at maybe another timeout to try and stem the flow here and stop St. Martin's momentum.
Low Morris on the drive. Spins into a little floater just outside the key. Another jump ball after Morris is unable to connect. So a defensive stand for the Falcons. Holds the Saints at bay, at least for the moment. But the Saints, this is as close as they've been. They've trimmed the lead to 7 a couple of times. Now it's down to 6. Tons of time left in this game. 7:23 to play.
Yeah, plenty of time. And it was something I was going to bring up. Just didn't get the opportunity to. Even though the tempo has been favoring the Falcons all game, the Saints, when they want to get up and going, they can put points up in bunches. So just because you have a 14-point lead with 10 minutes left, that's not enough. And the Falcons just have to keep playing their style of basketball. It's been working well so far, though.
Claire Dingus lost her ponytail rubber band. She's out there, hair just flying around everywhere. She was trying to check out for a moment so that she could get her hair straightened out. Seattle Pacific turns it over again. So erratic play at the offensive end is that 1-3-1 defense just continues to disrupt any flow the Falcons try to establish. Dingus now able to get her hair back in order. That was pretty awesome to watch her just running around with hair just flying all over the place. Because, you know, Dingus, she's on the move pretty much perpetually. Now it's Dodonis gets to the rack. Her shot a little short. And now Rashak Rory the other way. Hands it off for Burke. She gets to the rack, lays it up and in.
Well, there you go. Seattle Pacific had to bring some players back onto the floor despite the foul trouble because they had to stop the bleeding. It's working right now. But, again, I like the Saints when they go quick in this offense. Don't let it get to single digits on the shot clock.
Reed hands it off. Now Vavola drives. Gets to the baseline. Turns, wheels a pass out. Now Dodonis tries a near side three. That one well short. Dingus able to save it in bounds.
Oh, and a very heads-up timeout right there by Christy Martin.
Yep. So that will keep it at the Saints' end. Mike Simonson demonstrating what he thought happened at the other end by lying on the floor himself and kicking his feet up in the air. For a second, I thought he was just throwing a tantrum. He was just putting on a little demonstration there. Good stuff.
Well, what a game. I mean, this is reminiscent a lot of that first game up at Seattle Pacific when the Saints just came roaring back. Right now, Seattle Pacific able to kind of, in my mind, they're able to stop kind of the flow of this game a little bit. And so if I'm the Saints, you got 5 seconds on the clock. It's got to be a look down low to Claire Dingus. If that's not there, then Tierney or even Mallory Vavola out in the corner. I'd love to see that. Yep.
I was going to say, if it's not there for Claire down low, look for Tierney or Mallory Vavola to flash to that near side corner for a look at a three. It does go to Dingus in the corner. Able to get around the defender. Gets to the rack, lays it in. Back to a 6-point game. Sort of a slow motion, very slow developing drive, but Dingus able to make it work. Oh, rope-a-dope. Rashak Rory nearly travels. Instead hands it off to Burgess. Now Alter in the corner. Crosses over. Gets it back. Reed goes to get her. Into the high post for Boston. Now Alter steps back. Long two on the way, no good. Rebound, Vavola battling with Burgess, and another jump ball is called. This is like the 17th jump ball of the fourth quarter, I swear.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this many before in a game. But, I mean, you got two good rebounding teams, and they always feel like I can go get the ball at any time.
They are really starting to get after it here inside Marcus Pavilion. This has been a very entertaining quarter. And the Saints with another opportunity to chisel away at that lead. Reed spots up for three. It just does bound out, and Alta rips down the rebound. Do we have another jump ball? We do. Of course we do. What else would the call be but another jump ball? I believe that's the 6th jump ball. That's a whole mess of jump balls here through 4.5 minutes of the fourth quarter. Janelle Sutherland haven't seen her on the floor for a while, but she checks back in here for the Saints.
And now the Saints are going to run more pressure. They got a very athletic lineup on the floor. And I like this move. The pressure really given. And there it is. Just the Claire Dingus just reaching out for the ball, and it sails out of bounds. And so once again, the Saints applying pressure, and it's working. I think if I'm the Saints, I got to keep that look up for the rest of the game. It really is giving a lot of troubles. And so now the ball will be out on the baseline, which helps the Saints out more.
Yeah, nobody touched it. So it goes right back to the same spot. Ryan clear to trigger the inbounds. Fresh shot clock for the Saints. Feathers a pass up top for Dingus. She drives, steps around the defender. Shot up, no good. Rebound Burgess. That was a tough look for Dingus. Just unable to finish. And clear with the first foul here of the fourth quarter whistled against the Saints.
Yeah, what a reversal. I mean, first half it was kind of fouls left and right on both sides, and now
nobody in any real serious jeopardy for the Saints from a fouling out perspective. Reed and Morris each with 3 fouls. 2 players for the Falcons with 4 fouls. That's Rashak Rory and Brundage, 4 fouls apiece. One of those 2, Rashak Rory, on the floor currently for the Falcons. The refs have just let them play here in the third quarter. Just 3 fouls whistled in the first 5 minutes of the quarter. Dingus out there at the top of that 1-3-1. More disruption. They're able to find a soft spot. Is Alter with a wide open look at a 3. It bounds off. No one under the basket, however, except for Natalie Hoff. Her shot won't fall, but she is fouled and she'll head to the line.
And a 1-3-1 where the open spots are usually going to be are those corners. Yep. You know, it's going to be an open 3 look most of the time, and then also it kind of sets up a one-on-one down low in the paint and for the rebound. And, you know, that's what, again, Seattle Pacific, they have the edge right now down low with Hoff versus Vavola. Vavola not really one of the big rebounders on the team, more of, again, that 3-point specialist. So, you know, you have to play your athletic forwards like Reed and Clear and Dingus on that 1-3-1 to, you know, be able to fly around the floor, so that it leaves Vavola to kind of have to man down the paint. And it's not an easy job to do.
Hoff good on 1 of the 2 free throws, back to a 7-point lead. We are under 5 to play here in the fourth quarter. DeDonis rolls off the high screen, gets it back, a little pick and pop. Dingus' 3 on the way is good! A 4-point game with 4:40 to play as Dingus knocks down a clutch 3 for the Saints. They're as close as they've been since the opening stages of the game. An offensive foul whistled against Berg at the timeline. She sends Claire Dingus sprawling and is called for the foul. That will bring us to a stoppage in play. Did things just get interesting in here in a hurry? We're not taking a stoppage, actually. We will play on. This is, I thought, the spot for immediate timeout, but we play on. Saints ball.
That helps the Saints. It doesn't give the Falcons a break, and now the Saints chance here to cut it to a 1-possession game.
Vavola back on the floor, hands off to DeDonis. Crosses over the defender, gets to the rack. Off balance, runner will go, and the Saints are within 2 at 51-49, 4:15 to play. This is a 17-4 run for the Saints. Make it 17-3, a long 3 on the way, no good. Rebound tracked down in the corner by Boston. Looks for some help, ball above her head. Thinks about a 3, now kicks it back to Berg. 12 on the shot clock. Rashak Rory forced to throw it back inbounds and right into the hands of DeDonis. Saints can tie or take the lead. In transition, Claire Dingus knocks it home, and we're all tied at 51 with 3:40 to play. The run for the Saints continues. Now 19-3 to get right back into this game. It's a brand new ball game, Austin Burns.
Wow, could you ask for a better game to start the home year for the Saints? Wow. Woo. I mean, this one looked almost all but wrapped up for Seattle Pacific, and the Saints, they just don't quit. And Claire Dingus, I mean, she's really been the X factor tonight. That 1-3-1 switch by Christy Martin and Jared Stoudemire really changed the output of this game, and Claire Dingus coming alive.
And speaking of coming alive, how about Tierney DeDonatis now leading all scorers with a Baker's dozen? She's got 13 points. Didn't get started scoring until the very closing moments of the first half, but Tierney DeDonatis now playing with her hair on fire. A 19-3 run. Remember, the Falcons led this thing 48-32, and it looked like all hope was lost. But back come the Saints in a huge way. 19-3 run, Austin, down the stretch when it matters the most.
Yeah, just what I said earlier, the Saints can throw points up in bunches and quick. And there it is. Their defense is allowing them to get out in transition. They're running the court. They've changed the tempo of this game. If I'm Seattle Pacific, I got to get the ball, and there's a... Again, Saints just not allowing them to even get the simplest pass in.
The ever-active Claire Dingus just kicks the ball right out of the sky. Double team on Berg. Able to get it back to Rashak Rory.
Berg and Alter have to take over this game.
Berg with it in the corner. That's a dangerous pass. Makes its way to Rashak Rory. Into the corner for Boston. They find Brundage beneath the basket. Her putback won't fall, and the Saints can take the lead. Clears it for the Saints. 3 minutes to play.
Yes,
DeDonatis accelerates. Hands it off for Vivola. Gets to the paint. Lays up a shot. Won't fall. Brundage the board.
I like the Saints keeping the tempo high, and that's what Christy Martin wants. But there's Alter. That's her shot.
Yeah, along the baseline. 14-footer. No good. Able to save it back in bounds. Once again, Claire Dingus on the deck. Ties up with Boston. But the alternating possession gives it back to the Saints. Man, oh man.
What a ball game.
I'm telling you. 2:45 to play. We're all knotted up. Saints flatten things out near the baseline. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Vivola drifts out toward DeDonatis. Now she comes over here to the near side. Vivola goes to work in the post. Rolls a shot off the glass. It won't fall, but Mallory Vivola is heading to the line with an opportunity to give the Saints the lead.
Well, and another big move is that's going to foul out Rashak Rory.
How about that? That's a development.
That's a tough loss for Seattle Pacific. Tough call as well to go out on, in my opinion. But Saints, again, free throw line. This is where they've left a lot of points at the line tonight.
They've been at the line quite a bit. They are 13 of 19, 68% of the line. And the first is a little short for Vivola. So we remain tied for the moment. Vivola with one more.
Each side with one timeout. If I'm Seattle Pacific, I'd almost look at if I can get a basket here to get the lead back, maybe a timeout, that momentum timeout, and reset my defense.
And Alter unable to handle the pass from Berg. Another turnover for Seattle Pacific. They just have not been able to figure out this 1-3-1 defense. It has made all the difference in this game and really fueled this run for the Saints. They now lead it 52-51. The run now at 20-3 for St. Martin's as we near the 2-minute mark of this game. Vivola looks down low for Clear. They can't get it to her. Dingus back to Eternity Reed. Down low for Clear. Double team comes. Back to Dingus. Reed. And a 3 seconds in the key violation whistled against St. Martin's.
Saints really wanted to get that ball down low to Clear. And the moment she had it, 3 Falcons surrounded her. That was a great defensive stand from Seattle Pacific. Now, I got to get the ball in the hands of Alter. I mean, 4 of 13. I know she's having a rough shooting night for her standards, but she's the best offensive player on the floor for them.
Well, she handles here. She'll bring it across the timeline, be picked up there by Dingus. Maintains her dribble, now hands it off for Burgess. Claire chases her around. Into the high post it goes to Boston. Back to the corner now for Alter. Hawked there by Clear. 3 on the way for Burgess. Nearly goes. A foul on the floor beneath the basket. I believe it'll keep it with the Falcons. It's just a foul on the floor, so ball out of bounds to Seattle Pacific. Falcons with just 3 points here in the fourth quarter. Remember, the Saints scored 5 points in the final minute. It was 48-32. The Saints with 5 points in the final minute of the third quarter that really sparked this run. And it has just continued. 3 fourth quarter points for Seattle Pacific. More trouble here as Hoff nearly staggers to the floor. Skip pass for Boston. Hoff on the drive. Blocked by Clear. Saints with possession and a 1-point lead with a $1:15 to play. Hoff nearly fouls Dee Adonis. It looked for a moment like she was trying to foul her. But another jump ball gives it back to Seattle Pacific. I'm not exaggerating when I say we've had about 8, maybe 9 jump balls in the fourth quarter alone.
Oh, we'll talk about Ryan Clear, the freshman stepping up with a big defensive play, but the Saints are going to have to do it again. That turnover was a costly one for sure.
Alter rolls off the screen, nearly travels, able to get it away. Now a skip pass to the corner for Burgess. Bluffs it a 3, now drives, steps through. Shot off glass is good. May have traveled on her way to the basket, no call, but gives Seattle Pacific back the lead with under a minute to play. 53-52, hold on to your hats. Dee Adonis backs it out. Alter comes to get her. Crosses over, skips to the paint. Now to Dingus. Runs into Burgess, and a blocking foul going to be called on Burgess. But it is the 5th foul on Seattle Pacific, so it will send Claire to the line for a pair of shots. 40 seconds left. SPU with a 1-point lead.
And one of the best free throw shooters for the Saints. Hasn't been herself at the line tonight, but
bends at the knees. First shot is away, and it's good. Right down the pike.
Look about
Dingus ties the game.
Get.
Second free throw also good, and it stakes the Saints to that 1-point lead. 35 seconds to play. Alter, guarded by Dee Adonis, slips between the defenders, hands it off to Burgess, to the corner for a Boston 3. Looks strong, and it is. Alter flies in for the rebound. It's knocked out of bounds. Give it back to the Saints. Shot clock off for the rest of the game.
Well, now here, Saints, they're going to have to get the ball out. Falcons are going to be able to trap. 26 seconds left, and now they're going to call a timeout here to set it up. So we'll go ahead and keep it here. So what the Falcons are going to look to do here is they're going to look to try and trap. The moment that ball gets out, probably over the half-court line. I don't think you need the foul the moment the ball gets out of the trap in the backcourt, but when it gets over that half-court line, then you're going to have to foul if you're Seattle Pacific. So the Saints, I'm getting the ball in the hands of Tyranny Dee Adonis. She's my most reliable ball handler, or Claire Dingus. Those are going to have to be the two, I feel like, that have to touch the ball here in the beginning.
54-53 our score. If you just now tuned in, you wouldn't know it, but Seattle Pacific had this game well in hand. They had worked their way all the way out to a 16-point lead with about a minute to play in the third quarter. 5 unanswered points to close the third quarter. Brought the Saints back to within 11, allowed them to stay connected to this SPU team, and since the fourth quarter began, it has been all Saints. Seattle Pacific has gone ice cold. They've turned the ball over now 21 times in this game. For as good and composed as Rachel Berg was throughout most of this game, she now has 8 turnovers for the Falcons. Falcons have also gone cold from the field, just 2 for 12 and 0 for 5 from deep in the fourth quarter. And they have scored just 5 points since the fourth quarter began. Saints with a 1-point lead and possession. Falcons likely to apply some pressure in backcourt will see what they want to do. It will be Ryan Clear to trigger the inbounds pass for the Saints. The 5 on the deck for St. Martin's: Clear, Vivola, Dingus, Didadonis, and Eternity Reed. Claire comes to get it. Back to Ryan Clear. Now Dingus with it. Didadonis fouled in backcourt by Boston. 20 seconds left. Remember, the shot clock is off. And Didadonis heads to the line for 2 shots.
Yeah, it's exactly what the Saints need. They got the ball quickly into Claire, who's able to work it back into the hands of Tyranny. It's exactly what the Saints needed to do. But now, free throws. That's what's going to dictate the end of this game.
First free throw rattles off for T. Best she can do is make it a 2-point game. Saints have a foul to give. Didadonis makes the second. So a 2-point lead for the St. Martins. They're on a 23-5 run as time winds down. Alter with the basketball. Didadonis fouls her. So wave off that made basket. So I mentioned a moment ago the Saints had that foul to give. There you have it. It allows the Saints to set up their defense.
Yeah, especially with Alter running head full steam right to the basket. That was going to be a game-tying layup.
16 and 9/10 seconds left. Saints with a 2-point lead. Falcons with the basketball. Boston to inbound. Has some trouble getting it in. Able to loop a pass over the top for Burgess. Guarded by Dingus. Crosses over. Sealed off nicely by Dingus. Goes back the other way. Steps around one defender. High arcing shot, no good. Beneath the basket, it's Hoff on the putback. Won't go, but she will head to the line. 5.2 seconds left. And Natalie Hoff can tie the game if she makes 2 free throws.
Hoff, a 70% free throw shooter coming into tonight. 17 of 24.
Falcons 1 of 2 at the line here in the fourth quarter. But Hoff, with some ice water in those veins, knocks home the second like she doesn't care. Second free throw on its way. A little strong, but an offensive rebound for Burgess. Steps back, pass beneath the basket to Alter. Can't get a shot off, and the Saints somehow escape with a 55-54 victory as Alter is unable to get a shot off before the clock expires. And that will do it. The Saints with a 1-point win, an improbable 1-point victory. My goodness gracious, are you kidding me, Austin? What a finish to this game.
I mean, the rebounding for Seattle Pacific almost got them this W. But the Saints able to hold on by the skin of their teeth.
Oh,
but what
goodness.
a win. What a win for St. Martin's to battle all the way back. Down by as many as 16.
My, oh my. Well, the Saints come all the way back, and they do escape with the narrowest of margins. A 1-point win in the first of 2 games between the Saints and the Falcons. Give us a second to catch our breath, folks, but please stick around. We got a lot to talk over here on the other side of this break. The St. Martin's women's basketball postgame show is coming up in just a moment. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion for the St. Martin's women's basketball post-game show. And this is, I don't think, quite the post-game show we were gearing up for in the early stages of the fourth quarter. Already starting to sort of sort out what the Seattle Pacific storylines were, what helped get them to what was very likely going to be a victory for the Falcons. Instead, the Saints just come roaring back. What a ridiculous end to this game. Saints outscore Seattle Pacific 23-6 over the game's final 11 minutes and somehow find a way to will themselves to a 55-54 victory. Just an absolutely unreal performance defensively from the Saints in the fourth quarter, switching to a 1-3-1 zone. And really a big part of tonight's comeback is a player who, Austin, the Saints weren't even sure if she was going to be able to play tonight. Tierney DeDonis was in the COVID protocols, did not get cleared to play in tonight's game until just a handful of moments before tip-off here this evening. She is cleared and scores a game-high 14 points, many of those coming in the fourth quarter. Didn't get started scoring until the final minute of the first half. So all 14 points coming in about the last 21 minutes of this game. And she helped spearhead the Saints to a victory at the offensive end, but it was Claire Dingus at the top of that 1-3-1 zone, bothering and disrupting everything Seattle Pacific wanted to do in the fourth quarter that really brought the Saints this victory tonight.
Oh, it absolutely did, Jeff. I mean, when the Saints made the shift, that's where the game was won. And looking again here at point totals, the Saints outscored the Falcons 18-6 in the fourth quarter alone. And what
held
a turnaround.
Held them to 2 for 13 from the floor.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about watching a game unfold. That's what happened. It was 21-9 at the end of the first quarter in favor of the Falcons. The game ends 18-6 for the Saints. The Christy Martin and her coaching staff did a wonderful job in her team of adjusting to what the Falcons were throwing out there tonight. And the Saints, switching to that zone, it allowed them to play more up-tempo. And for the Saints, they turned the ball over to their best offensive players, and it really worked out. What a game for St. Martin's, a big-time win for the program.
Well, look who I'm joined by. Can we sneak her onto the broadcast?
Oh, but with COVID, unfortunately, I can't get her a microphone, unfortunately, but an incredible game for Christy Martin. And so, again, Coach, wonderful job. Thank you so much for popping over here to take a look at the stats real quick.
So COVID protocols prevent us from actually being able to do a post-game interview with head coach Christy Martin. She came over here, I think, more out of force of habit than anything. And, of course, I'm sure she's dying to talk to us about this game. It would be so great to be able to have her on the broadcast to talk about what a turnaround the Saints put on here in the fourth quarter. Just a whale of a performance defensively from this team. That 1-3-1 zone just changed everything for this team's fortunes here tonight. And then Tierney DeDonis coming up with clutch shots in the fourth quarter. Winds up with that game-high 14 points. So let's quickly run you through some stats. For the victorious St. Martin Saints here tonight, they still only shoot 33% from the game and 27% from three. 17 from 51 from the floor, 4 for 15 beyond the arc. They shoot 17 of 25, good for 68% at the free throw line. So the Saints went to the line 11 more times than the Falcons here this evening. For the game, the Saints with 31 rebounds in the game, so they're -6 in the rebounding column. But remember, Seattle Pacific, the number one rebounding team in terms of rebounding differential in the entire nation, all of NCAA Division II. Seattle Pacific sits atop the leaderboard in that statistic, averaging 13.5. They were plus 13.5 coming in. They're +6 on the night. For the Saints individually, Tierney DeDonis leads the way with 14 points on 5 of 10 shooting from the floor. The only other Saints player in double figures is Claire Dingus. She does get herself to 11 points and 5 rebounds tonight. Also had 2 huge back-to-back steals, led the team in steals with 2. Those both coming out on subsequent possessions for Seattle Pacific. 7 points tonight as well for Emily Nelson, 6 points apiece for Lo Morris and Mallory Vivola. So a very balanced scoring attack for the Saints. Neither team obviously shot it particularly well, just a 55-54 outcome here tonight. For the Falcons, they shoot 34% from the floor, 18 of 52, 8 of 22 from 3, good for 36%, and 10 of 14 at the line. But in the fourth quarter, They just could not get anything going offensively. Just 2 for 13 shooting from the floor in the fourth quarter, 0 for 5 from deep, and 2 for 4 at the line. 6 fourth quarter points for SPU. I do want to go back for just a moment, Austin, to the last minute of the third quarter. We talked about it coming into the start of the fourth quarter, how nice it is to have that the 4 quarters in the women's game. I personally think it's so much better than the 20-minute halves the men are still playing at. It's just, it presents so many different fun opportunities. There's fewer fouls, there's fewer trips to the line, fewer media timeouts, more chances for buzzer beaters. And again, my favorite thing, more opportunities for 2 for 1. And the Saints did exactly that. They got the bucket from Vola, another one from Didadonis in the closing moments, got those final 5 points of the third quarter to close the gap from 16 to 11. That was huge. That gave the Saints such a boost, such a shot in the arm. So coming out in the fourth quarter, once they switched that 1-3-1, they were already flowing a little bit of the offensive end as well, and they were able to slowly creep their way back into this thing, finally working the lead all the way down. Remember, it is let's do the math, a 23-5 run to close the game, 23-6. The Saints closed the game on a 23-6 run. Just an incredible, improbable victory for the Saints here in the first of this 2-game series against the Falcons.
Yeah, we talked about at the very beginning of this show what Christy Martin was building with this program.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, again, wins were hard to come by in those first few years, but as the team grew and she got the players that she wants, it allows her to make changes like she did tonight and go to that 1-3-1 zone, play more athletic across the floor. And this is a game that, to be honest, I don't think they win this game even last year. I think that this is a game that Seattle Pacific would have won. So this Saints team, they're getting better and better each year, and what a win for them. Because, again, you know, end of the day, their goal is to make the NCAA tournament. There's 6 spots. There's not the usual 8. There's only 6. The Saints are in that 6th spot right now. You know who's above them in the rankings? That's Seattle Pacific at 5. That's right now something that will definitely be taken into account. And so for me, the Saints team, they're growing each game. This is a young team, you know, at the core. You know, they got a really good, you know, veteran leadership in Tierney and Mallory and Claire. But a lot of this team is young and kind of still coming into it. And Ryan Clear, what a game she had tonight, in my opinion. I mean, I think her play on the defensive end really helped the Saints get back into this one. I mean, there's so many people you could highlight, like you said, Tierney, not knowing she was playing until minutes before and grabbing the backpack and running over here to play. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. So, you know, again, St. Martin's did a phenomenal job, and hat off to Seattle Pacific. They were the better team for 30 minutes of this game. 29 minutes of this game, yeah. And they came in with a great game plan. They really did. This was this is a very good team.
No doubt.
And you know, again, in the first time these two teams met up, St. Martin's was able to get the better of them, and then Seattle Pacific made some adjustments. You know, 24 hours later, we'll see, you know, what adjustments can the Falcons make. But they played a very good game today, in my opinion.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the name of Ryan Clear. Now, while she only wound up with 3 points tonight, she played 32 minutes. She had a team-high 6 rebounds, also led the team with 3 assists and 2 blocks as well. 3 blocks, by the way, for Eternity Reed for the Saints tonight. But, yeah, Ryan Clear provided a lot of just that intangible stuff that you need on a basketball court. I mean, when she was on the floor, the Saints just had a different energy, a different sense of purpose about them. You could see it among her teammates when she was out there on the floor with them. You bring up the adjustments. I'm just going to go ahead and ask you this, Austin. We saw what that 1-3-1 defense did. It completely just discombobulated the entire offensive flow for Seattle Pacific. They just got nothing going against it at all. What do you think? Does Christy Martin come out employing that defense to start the game tomorrow?
Personally, I would. It goes back to the old adage of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, I mean, until Seattle Pacific can prove that they can stop it,
they got to solve it.
I keep going to that, and I would open the game. So, you know, does that mean maybe a non-traditional lineup? You know, maybe Ryan Clear gets the start tomorrow. You know, to keep that, you know, Eternity Reed on the floor as well. Personally, that's what I would do. Christy Martin, much smarter than me when it comes to basketball, so I will leave that decision up to her. But, I mean, until, again, Seattle Pacific, I think, can prove that they can find a way to move the ball through that zone, if I'm the Saints, I stay with it and then go back to my bread and butter of the man-to-man defense if Seattle Pacific is making adjustments.
Well, these two teams won't have a lot of time to think about it. Again, they are right back at it here on the Twin Star Court tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. tip-off for that one. So if tomorrow night's game is anything like tonight's, you will definitely want to tune in for that one. It will be Austin Burns flying solo on the broadcast tomorrow night. I cannot be here for tomorrow night's game, but Austin will be taking the reins. He will take you from start to finish on this one. He's going to bring you home tomorrow night. And then next weekend, the Saints return to action against Northwest University. They've got games both Friday and Saturday next weekend. We'll be back on the call for both of those games as well. That's going to do it for us here tonight. 55-54, our final score. The Saints able to go on a magnificent run. They close the game on a 23-6 run to earn themselves one of the toughest, most hard-fought victories since Christy Martin has been head coach here at St. Martin's in the last 4 years. So, on behalf of Austin Burns and everyone here within the St. Martin's Athletic Department, this is Jeff Lucero signing off for tonight. But these two teams will re-rack and run it back tomorrow night at 6 p.m. The pregame show starting about 10 minutes before tip-off. Until then, folks, have yourself a lovely night. Good night.